What? Mhm. Yeah, you know, I hate it when people change things. I say, I hate it when people change things.
Hello?
You're good.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, sorry about that. Good evening and welcome to all those in attendance. This is a regular school board meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, and the time is 6 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Legarreta, will you please take roll?
Yes. President Marquez,
Present.
Vice President Gonzalez,
Present.
Member Martinez,
Montes.
sorry.
It's been a long day.
Here.
Member Garay
Here.
Oh, put it
and
like
myself is present, Legreta is present.
that. Okay, we do have a quorum and we have two members that are via Zoom. And we do have Ms. Garay, she's not feeling well, so if we don't hear, I may ask you to just, if I don't know if you can give a thumbs up or something on there. I don't know if we can see that or type in there that yes or yay or nay. Okay, all right, if we can please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship amongst United cultures. Right. Yes.
Ms. Garay did say that she will type it in the chat.
Oh, awesome. Okay, good job. All right. And I can see that from here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with item number 1, approval of consent agenda. First of all, members of the board, are there any items that you wish to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed individually? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Mr. Secretary Legarreta, will you please read out the consent agenda items?
Approval of consent agenda, approval of A is approval agenda. B is approval of minutes 6/12 of 2024, regular, and 6/11 2024, and 6/20 2024 special meeting with work session. C, approval bills, June 2024. D, approval of budget adjustments, requests, transfers, cash requests, maintenance bars, 13,000. 24,330, 11,000. Increased bars 25 XXX. To be determined by PED. USDA grant 200,000.
Okay, and if there's no objection, I will call for a vote to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Right, Ms. Garay did say, type in yes. The consent agenda is approved, 5-0. Hey, Mr. Chavez. Reports.
Yes, sir. We got several reports and I'm going to go ahead and change the order.
Okay.
Just because we've got guests here
Yes.
and so let's
Let
work
them
on that.
go.
One of the items on the superintendent's report that we had talked about that was mentioned when we created the agenda was the student driver issue and some of the concerns about the kids that continue to park around the area. And so the chief is here to talk a little bit about that, but she's also here to introduce our new SRO who will be working with us.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chavez, I forgot your name from him. Mr. Chavez asked me about the security and the kids that are parking off campus. Obviously, we have an issue with that because they don't have either a driver license or they don't have a permit or some paperwork that required to be parked in the school. We're gonna make some kind of projects throughout the month. We're gonna put a patrolman and we're gonna start doing some traffic stops just to identify kids that don't have a driver license. So that way they start passing the boys and letting everybody know that it's not correct for them to drive with no driver license. Most of the ones parking in our parking lot they have all the paperwork completed, which with those we take care by closing the gates and because the SRO always approve the permits, is gonna continue the same way, so we will know who is with driver license or without. Second, I wanted to introduce our new SRO, Paul Sanchez. He's coming from Deming.
Welcome.
Thank you. Very much.
So.
Do you have any questions for him?
I'm sure we will.
Mr. Marcus Sanchez.
Good, doing good.
And Chief Hernandez, I believe, I don't know if Chris, if you have any questions, I know you had brought up the student drivers and how, I don't know if you have any more questions
Or just for Sanchez and the chief. Most of the offenders, the young offenders, they park here around the old basketball courts. Okay. Or around the field house, anywhere on this side of the canal. And I was hoping that it's been going on for so many years. I think it's time that we start holding the parents accountable. Because any parent that's gonna let in their young children take a vehicle from their home and drive to school is a liability.
Right.
So maybe if we can start maybe levying some fines, towing the vehicles for the ones that can't get the picture. I don't mean to be this, I don't know, but it's been going on for too long and it's gonna end up bad.
As I was explaining Mr. Chavez on the phone, one of the things is that if we know that offender, that driver is not, don't have a driver license, if we know for a fact, that will be an excuse for us. But if they don't commit any violations, there's nothing we can do. And by them parking on the sides, like on the side of the street is public property, so we cannot do anything about it. There's some neighbors that allow some of the students to park in their property, which is the same thing. We go to the private property and I mean, it's one of the things that we might let the neighbors know that it's not allowed, especially because they don't have a driver's license. We can cite the parents also. And like you said, we can tow the vehicles as well. So we're gonna start working on that as we go. And just small projects for security, for safety of the drivers. So
So
And with-
where we can
so
start.
you actually have to get these kids driving
Yes,
in the vehicle.
yes, sir.
Oh, that's easy.
Because if we see them sitting on the vehicle or just going into the vehicle, unless we see them with the engine on and in the driver's seat, there's not much we can do.
You were saying you're gonna do some projects, like, were you thinking like checkpoints, like for driver's license and insurance, or we don't,
No, we
can-
cannot,
oh,
no, we
okay.
cannot enforce that. You guys can do it in the school, but as we
But
know,
it does,
anyone in the school is gonna have proper paperwork.
Okay.
In the outside, we can only put an officer or two just to do traffic stops
Okay.
routinely and
Is there something that we could maybe put out to the public and just stating that the Hatch PD is gonna be, patrolling, and that way the parents can advance notice. 'Cause I mean, if they're letting their kids, they may have gotten away with it for a while, and that way parents have the opportunity to know. It's kind of like when they announced those the DWA checkpoints. I
Exactly.
mean, they, for the month of July, you think twice. So something like a campaign saying that Hatch PD will be out looking and enforcing insurance, no insurance, driver license, maybe that may let the parents know. And maybe might have a few kids decide, I better not drive because I don't want to be stopped, or they're looking for that. I don't know if that would help.
And like I mentioned before, if it's in the school property, it's your call, you can put your rules and
Uh-huh.
we can always enforce to a certain point. And the outside, if they park on the side of the road, unless we know that drivers
Unless
don't
they-
have a driver license, and if they don't commit any
Any
violation,
vehicle. outside that.
we will assume that, but
But unless they commit an infraction or something, you can't
yes,
stop
we
them, right?
cannot
There's
stop
not
them,
much,
yes,
okay.
sir. If
It
it's
can't
not
be
a,
secondhand information. He's gotta
Oh,
actually
yeah.
visualize, you gotta see the violation happen.
Oh, it's you have to see. the
And you have to see the
violation.
violation happen, yeah, and then you can act on it.
yeah.
Can
So
you
we
also,
go
can
in-
you also put just for, say, the month of August, the month of September, whatever, zero tolerance? Just to put it in their ear when they hear zero tolerance, they might think
Yeah.
twice. If you
Yeah,
can.
maybe a letter, Mike.
Yeah.
To the parents that maybe they will be. held
Yeah,
accountable.
we can definitely increase communication and put some things out. I'm also wondering if like, they all park over here and they enter the gate over by the canal, on Canal Road. I'm wondering if like, maybe you could just have somebody stationed there and just ask,
As law
Where are you parking
enforcement, we
them?
cannot, you can
Okay.
put a security guard
okay.
and you can.
Yeah.
Like if Vicente used to do it last year, every
Right.
now and then, he will ask for the permit, and if he don't see the sticker, he will not allow them.
Okay.
At the end of the year, I know he kind of start getting out of control, but it's the kind of project between Vicente and I used to run every
Okay.
now and then.
Okay,
If we can legally find a way to.
Yeah.
Just deter that early in the year.
right,
Maybe they'll get away from that.
okay. Yeah, we can do that. We can see what we can do. We'll do what we can.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
I just want to thank Chief for coming because she was already on her way home and I called her and she said, hey, I'll just turn around. And I said, no, I'll just relay information. She said, no, I need to go. So
Thank
I
you.
appreciate her coming and Officer Sanchez coming and because I know they kind of rearranged some things at the last minute for us. So thank you.
Thank you very
Officer
much.
Sanchez, chief, you all need anything, don't be shy.
Welcome,
Give us a
Officer.
call.
All right, thank
Give
you.
us a
Thank
call.
you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Take care.
Alrighty. So that takes us, I'm just gonna keep going down and go with the security, and I just want to report to the board that we have put in the budget a new security person for the middle school. That is something that was requested, and so we will have that person in place for the start of the school year. I don't know if we've done interviews or not for that, but we do have letters of interest from people that are interested in that position and people with experience. So, so that's good. We'll have that ready to go first thing.
And maybe next year we can put one at the high school.
Well, Vicente
Yes.
will be over there.
Vicente's gonna be
Yeah,
there.
he'll be
Okay.
stationed over at the high school. So,
Okay.
and previously he's had to cover, both and sometimes over at Rio Grande. And so he was stretched thin. So, having another person, I think is going to really help.
Awesome.
I know they'll be stationed at the middle school, but they'll be able to rove though, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're trying to, one of the things that Vicente and I have talked about is, utilizing, staff, to help in a larger capacity. So, for instance, we have a ISS person over at the middle school. And so our hope is that we don't have, we do a good job that, kids are following the rules that, he doesn't always have kids, I guess is what I'm saying. And so we're going to utilize him as well in that mix. And so when we don't have kids in ISS and have them patrolling the hallways, patrolling the bathrooms, and that seems to be, the big issue. The high school will have Vicente and the SRO and so we're hoping that, just more visibility, will address some of the issues that we've been having.
That's what we're hoping for.
Do we know if we're gonna have them in plain clothes or are we gonna have them actually like security?
I think we need to have some type of something that distinguishes him because, if that person is working with the public or working with kids and parents and, they need to know that they're acting in an official capacity.
Right,
So
right.
we need to have something for them. We haven't discussed exactly what that is, but yes, we need to have something that distinguishes them.
Maybe some
I agree.
distinguishing polo shirts or something.
Yeah, polo shirt, something
Very
nice.
professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, okay.
And just to read, I believe Ms. Garay was saying about giving the kids a warning and not, for the driving, I believe. So, yeah, so
Yeah.
just having the parents, I mean, letting them know
Well,
what's
and that's
going
the
on.
thing is that we don't,
We don't want to,
yeah, we want to
be
work with them.
punitive,
You
yeah.
know, we want them to work with us
Yeah.
and, you know, give them a warning, say, hey, look, guys, this is, you know, we can't have this.
yeah,
Well, zero tolerance doesn't always mean a citation.
yeah.
It could also mean a written warning.
Verbal, written,
Yeah, I like writtens because it actually
record.
scares them a little more.
Oh, yeah.
And they think about it when they hand it over to mom and dad,
oh yeah.
so.
Right.
And it's not a penalty or anything, it doesn't go against your insurance or anything like that, but it just gives them a little more scare to not do what they're doing, cause I've seen them at lunchtime. And some of those kids, I remember doing it myself, way back when, you know, they're passing on Canal Street and
Shame on you, Mr.
racing.
Narada.
I'll admit it. It was only 25 years ago.
Okay, all right. Any other questions on that?
Good.
Okay, and I'll go back up to the top then and and present our student data. So we've got our scores that have come in. And it's one of the things, I think there's hard copies for you, but Andrew, I know you got the PowerPoint slide. And so what I've done for you, because I know there's been questions about, you know, prior year to the current year and how are we doing? Did we go up? Did we go down? Did we? And so the other thing that I've done with this is I have included the different levels. So, but I've included the proficient and the advanced. I just put them together because they're both proficient. So, so we do have novice and nearing proficiency and then proficient and advanced. And so, this is for, NAMASA. So that is the summative, assessment, for grades 3 through 8. And so we're going to go over those, now. And so we'll start with the first, and, that is, language arts, for grades 3, 4, and 5. And so, like I said, on the left-hand side, you have 2023 and on the right, you have 2024. And so one of the things that we haven't been able to do is we're still looking at some of this information and some of the data, is that, you know, it's important for us to know that, you know, with nearing proficiency, you know, how close are the kids? You know, are they close? Are they not close? You know, are they on the lower end of nearing proficiency or on the higher end? You know, it's years and years ago, and you know this, Mr. Marcus, you know, they used to call those the bubble kids, and I was never really keen to that idea because I feel like the kids that are scoring novice are the ones that we really need to bring up as well. And so all kids, we just got to focus on all kids and not just the kids that are just nearing, you know, that are close to being proficient. All kids are important to be able to move up. So
And that's
so
that's one of the things I believe in our goals too, that we really focused on those novice kids, and
Yeah,
we'll talk more
absolutely.
about that and really, yeah,
absolutely.
but it is, yeah, I mean, just to look at those nearing proficient and think we can just move those kids if it's
Right.
close. I mean, you able to do that too. That's
Yeah.
so, yeah, I
So-
would like that information if we can get that
Absolutely,
later.
absolutely. And
That
I
may-
can have that for us for
that would-
next month.
Yeah, that would
And
be awesome. to
it's
kind of-
something that we talked about when I met with principals the last couple of days is, you know, let's talk about scale scores and let's talk about,
Yeah.
you know, where do kids fall? What are their scale scores? You know, it's good to look at this as a summary type,
Yes.
you know, overall, but we really need to get into those scale scores and see where each kid scored.
And the ones that would scare me would be the proficient and barely made it.
Right.
Those are the ones that I was thinking,
Right.
where do, I mean,
Because
they
those can
just got
fall
them by
back.
1 or 2 points, they made. That's
Exactly.
another thing that you need to keep your eye
Exactly.
on too.
Exactly. So, so this is just a quick summary. It's not in depth. We haven't had a chance to really drill down to look at individual scores, and these are overall. So, we've got language arts here, and you can see just looking at proficiency. You know, we went down in some areas, especially in 5th grade, and so 5th grade is a big concern because we went down significantly. And so that's one of the things that we'll have to bring to the middle school's
school,
attention, because
yeah.
those kids are now 6th graders. And so 4th grade kind of held, you know, they're down 1 point. So that's not a significant decrease. But you know, for third grade went down as well. And so it's something that I've already had conversations with Mr. Casillas and we've looked at his scores and one of the things that he's really looking at, he's very in tune as to, you know, he says, hey, look, it's not working. Something's not working. We need to do something different. And so he's got a lot of great ideas that he's already brought to my attention. And one of the things that I told him is I said, you know, one of the things we need to do is make sure that the staff understands, you know, these scores and how we're not doing as well as we should. And so what do we need to do to bring those scores up? And so those are some critical conversations that he'll be having. He's already started that process. He had a training in the month of June, already working with teachers in math. And so let's just go over to math now because that's the next one. And so you'll see in math, we're still struggling. We're struggling in math. And so I know that's a big concern and you'll see that across the district and across the grade levels. One of the things that I've already been in contact is I've been in contact with Dr. Kim Mizell from CES and looking at math professional development. And so we get 6 days of professional development through CES. And that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at and working with them and seeing what they can do for us and what they can provide. They're working with some people, I forget the name of the company, but anyways, I'm going to be in talks with them tomorrow up at the conference, at the NMCL conference, and see what they could provide for us. He was going to bring us a list of what are the services they could provide. So we know that math definitely is a focus area that we need to work on and as we move forward. So
Mike, I think one of the things you need to look at too is the cohort and follow the cohort across.
yes,
So if you notice grade 3 in 2023, they were at 17%, but they actually did go up to 23% in 4th grade. And but that, like you said, 24% down, and they dropped to 9% in language arts in 5th grade. So that cohort is extremely important to follow going across.
you're talking language arts, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's a good observation. Yeah, absolutely.
For all of them, it's important to follow the cohort across, not just compare year to year because you're comparing different groups of kids.
Right. No, that's a good point. You know, carrying that same thing and looking at cohorts, you know, we also see though that in 4th grade, you know, in 2023, you know, they did drop from 24 to 9% in 5th grade. And so that's a big concern there. And so while it is good that, you know, that we moved up from 3rd to 4th, you know, we dropped from 4th to 5th. And like I said, just going back to math, you know, it's something we just need to continue to work on. And so we're trying to figure that out. And
and
we'll
once
see.
again,
That will be a focus area this next year.
and even those 5th graders, I mean, like from 4th to 5th, they kept, I mean, you have that 7% proficient or advanced, but going to the
No
middle.
growth.
Yeah, with there's no growth, but 7% in math to the middle school, and that's a rough when they their transition.
Yep.
Yeah, they have middle school has their work cut out for them.
Yes, they do. So let's go over to middle school now and language arts. And I've got to say, I was very impressed with middle school and the work that they've done. Their language arts scores have really jumped up. And so if you look at whether you look at grade to grade or cohort, you know, you're seeing some big increases there. And so the high point is 7th grade, you know, at 46%. So we've got close to half of our kids, you know, scoring proficient there. And so middle school should be commended for
That's awesome.
the success that they've had
Oh,
with the
yeah.
language arts. So whatever they're doing over there,
They're
they're doing a
good
good job. And so
That's a huge jump. That's a 18% growth from year to year. That cohort of kids from 6 to 7.
And the novice only 11%, you know what I mean, from 22, well, from 19 to
19 to 11.
11, that's awesome too. I mean, that's
Yeah.
shrinking right there.
well, and if you look at the 6th grade for 24, you know, that's the kind of graph that we want to see. So we want to see less novice, a little bit more
Yes.
proficient and more, I'm sorry, nearing proficient and then more proficient. So you want to see that kind of, you know, trend. And and you even see that trend in 7th grade. It's even more pronounced. And so, you know, bravo to them. They did a really good job. I talked just briefly with Miss Perry and Miss Zamora. And just let them know, whatever they're doing a good job and they need to continue doing
Continue
it. So. Then we go over to math and it's not the same kind of story. So
Yeah.
we continue to struggle in math and I think we stayed the same in seventh grade. Sixth grade, pretty much the same. There was 1 point down. But eighth grade, we did go down from 12 to 4. And so it's one of those things that we're just we're trying to find out, what are some root causes that we need to really look at? Is it a language issue? Is it abstract problems, abstract thought? Is it number sense? I don't know. It's one of the things that we need to do, and I was looking at it this morning, is the item analysis report. So we're going to go back and look at the item analysis and really look at, where are the kids falling? Where are we missing the boat here? And what's the disconnect here? And where is it happening?
And Mr. Chavez, do the teachers understand how to conduct those, or the principals, I guess I should be asking, but are the teachers versed in that? Doing that kind of stuff?
I don't know about the teachers. I know
Okay.
that the
Principals are able
principals
to
are,
do that
yes.
with them. Okay.
We have one of our teachers over there. She taught seventh grade this year, and she was probably our top math teacher. And she moved down from eighth grade to seventh grade because Amber thought she just in the staffing and looking at strengths and everything like that. I did talk to her earlier in the year, and she said, she was kind of at a loss because we looked at scores last year, and she couldn't believe that her kids didn't do as well as they should have. And so it's one of the things that even the teachers are frustrated, and so there's a lot that we need to look at it from different angles and see what we can do to make a change,
And maybe studying those standards. I mean, just looking
Yeah.
in there and.
And that's my question, Mike, is
Yeah.
what's the reality of making these changes? Because we're only a few weeks away from our next school year.
Well, we've got good curriculum. We've got good textbooks. Okay. The textbooks that we have are some of the highest rated textbooks. But what I'm hearing from some of the teachers is that the kids still don't have the skills. So they're still at a high level. So they're having to supplement, and they're having to do a lot of going backwards to bring them back up, and so we need to find out in our scope and sequence, where are we missing the boat here?
Where's that
You know,
disconnection?
Exactly. Is it a third grade? Does it even start in kindergarten as the progression as we move up, are the kids ready for that? Because it's kind of like in reading, we all know in reading, you have that big switch, in second grade, from learning to read to third grade or reading to learn. And I'm wondering, do we have the same kind of situation with math? Are they ready from second grade to move on into third grade where we have this type of scores? And so I don't know. It's something that we need to dissect and we need to continue to just evaluate.
And when did your administrators get this data?
We got this data
Recently?
just recently. Yes,
Okay.
which is good. And I've got to say that for the first time, getting this data this soon is, in years past, we didn't get it till October sometimes, so even November sometimes. And it's like, you already got a quarter of the year already done.
I
So,
was surprised when I saw it late on the desk.
yeah. And so having it, right before school starts, it doesn't give us a whole lot of time. However, this is good. It is good because when we come back next week, we're giving teachers and principals time all day on Thursday to do this kind of work, to do curriculum mapping, to do pacing guides, to do dissection of standards, deconstructing the standard, all that work. And then we're going to give teachers all day on Friday to do more work, to do their individual planning so that we can get a jump on it. There's never enough time to do what we have to do, but we do that throughout the year, through PLC process and just different avenues that we do like that. Okay. Any questions on that? The last one is graduation rates. And so I couldn't remember if Ms. Holguin had sent you the embargo. Last time we talked, we had said that, we couldn't disclose the number because it was still embargoed. But I wanted to share with you, where we're at and where we've been since 2019. And so our graduation rate continues to go up. And one of the things that I had talked about way back then was I'd really wanted to see a 92 to 93% graduation rate. And so, to see us at 91%, that's really, really close to achieving that goal. And so we continue to see good progress like that. And that's just really working with kids. And I know our counselors, I know our administrators, I know our teachers, everybody works really, really hard to make sure that these kids can graduate. And unfortunately, we have some kids that don't make it, but our goal.
Okay,
And
4.7.
so it doesn't come easy now.
Yeah.
You can't
Um,
just look at the chart and say, okay, well, the 5.0 and above
Yeah.
are proficient. Now we have to go back and we have to look at every kid and see where they scored, so we'll have that information for you next month. We'll have access scores, we'll have 11th grade scores. And I think that's all the scores that we'll have, that we will have already covered all the scores, all the formative assessment last month and the summative this month and next month.
Do we
Okay.
know where we'd be at percentage wise? If we didn't start at the 50%, we started 0%. Do we know where we'd be at graduation wise?
I'm not understanding.
If you know how we start off the year with everybody starts off with 50%
Oh, you're talking the grading system.
grading system.
Yes.
Do we know where we would be at if we started like at 0% like we used to before COVID?
I don't know.
Is there a way to
I
assess that
I don't know if I don't know. We can look into it, but I
So what
I
you're kind of
don't
saying,
know.
like in 19, it was 75%, but
Correct,
there's eight,
but
because
we
maybe
in 19 we started at 0%, right?
it was
yes.
pre-COVID,
Yes.
yeah.
And then 2020 is when we started at 50%.
2021, I believe.
2021?
Yeah.
At 2020, it's 80%. It's still not bad.
Right.
And that's at 50%.
It'd be a few percent.
I mean, 0%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be a few
I'd
percentage.
kind of like to see where we'd be at
Yeah.
with if we started at 0%, or if they're able to break it down.
I mean, we'll look into it and, but, just thinking real quickly, I don't know that we could generate that information. There might be something that I don't know, but let me look into it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any questions on any of that?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Then that's that. The last one is cell phone use. And I know that that's something that continues to be a topic and it is, well, across the nation, because I've been reading some articles across the nation of in fact, I just read an article about the negative impact of cell phone use on teenagers. And it has a lot to do with the addiction that they have to their cell phones. And so there's something that, we definitely, cell phone use does have an impact, and it is something that I don't know how we can do more. I mean, there's always something that we can do. There's always room for improvement. But I just wanted to remind the board that last year there was a new procedure that was adopted by all of our schools, where we said no cell phones at the elementary level. You could have cell phone at the middle school, but they can only use it before school or after school. And then at the high school, we restricted use that, no cell phones during instruction time. And so, but they could use it before school, in between periods, or lunchtime and after school. And so I talked to Ms. Ogeen yesterday about it, and it's one of the things that she said. She said, there's definitely room that we can grow. But we're last year was our first year, and I thought we were going to get a lot of pushback, and it's something that the principals felt really strongly about. And I said, okay, well, let's do it, and but surprisingly, we didn't get a lot of pushback, I mean, we still have kids that, push the envelope and everything like that, but overall, kids really complied, and it's not perfect by any means, but I think it was a good first step. And I think, it's something that we can tighten up some more moving on, into the next school year. But I do know that the school board has some concerns about that. And so
Yeah, and
I
that
just
was,
want
We
to put it on
don't, we don't want to
the.
send a message that we want to do this as a bad thing.
Right,
We want to do this to help them out as far as their education is,
sure,
we're not trying to do it just to be mean to these kids.
Right.
Or to get after the parents. We need them to focus in school when they're here.
right. And that's teaching responsibility, right? And using it responsibly.
And if last year, if they didn't take it too bad, maybe something that we can do this year just to,
and I think parents
it up a little
are
bit.
willing to support that. And I think it was Virginia, they're following, they were talking about cell phone free zones, like a classroom
I
would
like
be
that.
zone free. I mean,
Sure.
you couldn't even have it on your person, but it would just, there's
Yeah.
certain areas, like when you're in the classroom, those are, and some of the kids were even saying that, yeah, because sometimes, I mean, they get distracted and so like you said, some of them are willing to do that.
Yeah.
That, they realize that it's for their own benefit, and we can, as they get to the high school, I think they start realizing that, but just free zones where, I mean, they would, but I don't know, again, how you
then
set that
again,
up. and-
phones are privileged, right, Mike? They're a
It
privilege.
should be, yes.
Yeah. I mean, whatever the school district chooses to do, it's gonna be what it is. That's it.
And we do have the technology, so it's kids, we do have plenty of technology that kids wouldn't have to use their phone, correct?
Every,
They have-
every kid, every secondary student has a Chromebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Yes.
they have the,
And safety wise, every classroom has, do we have either a phone, like a
Yes.
hardline phone for 911? Or a intercom system working,
Both,
both?
yes,
Then they can't they can't say that, oh, I need our phone for security.
Right.
If I need to call 911, because that hard line is always there.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
yes. It's one of the security upgrades that we did during COVID when we got the ESSER money, is we included phones in every classroom because well, for just different reasons, but yes, there is a phone in every classroom.
Plus the teacher should have a secondary device. Do they have radios by chance?
No,
No,
No, they
but they
don't.
have their cell phone
they do have their cell phones.
that they can have on the ready for 911 just in case the hard line goes down.
Yes,
or
yes, we got the Rave app.
The app.
The app,
There you
yes,
go.
yes. And so anytime we have an emergency, we can hit that button and it sends it out.
Okay. So just in case, because I know the parents, I could hear. I want my kid to have his cell phone on him at all times.
Yeah.
Because such as such,
Yeah.
security issues.
Here's the thing is, like, when we take a cell phone, or we require a kid to put it like, some of the teachers make the kids put them in those like those shoe
shoe racks,
things, like
the
on
shoe
the
bags,
door,
whatever.
yeah. And, but one of the things that we have to be careful with is that, it could be that if a phone is damaged, if we take a phone from a kid or something like that and we damage it or we lose it or it gets lost or whatever, we could be responsible for it. And so,
but couldn't we
it's just
put
something-
that, couldn't we state that? I mean, you bring your phone at your own risk, kind of like
Yep.
the little ones, when you bring your toys or things
Yep.
like that, or dolls that they go missing, they get torn. I mean,
Yep.
it's something that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could,
yeah, definitely, we can make a statement like
Statement.
that.
Is that written already in our policies?
I know that,
available?
I know Vicente has been working on that. So,
Because the best way to start working this out is not to punish all of them.
Right.
We start looking at individuals that really
Yeah.
are disruptive with their telephones
Right,
and
right.
start there.
You know, the biggest thing, the biggest disruption that we face is stuff that actually goes on in social media outside of school. And then it comes into school, right? And so a lot of times our administrators, our SROs they're chasing things, you know, or they're chasing threats, they're chasing, you know, bullying, cyberbullying, they're chasing all these things, but it's things that are originating
But
outside.
then they see it again at the school.
And they see it, and then
Yeah,
it
I mean,
spreads like
and
wildfire.
it-
And
but it-
so the other thing that we've talked about is that we've got to do a better job of educating parents as well. Parents need to know what is going on and I can't remember who told me this, but parent, was it you, Mr. Gonzalez? I can't remember. Somebody had told me that, you know, they actually take their kids' phone at night, you know, so that they don't have access to them at night. And so I'm thinking that's a great idea that we can share with parents, you know, make sure your because kids are staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. They're coming to school and they're not able to learn.
They're not able to function.
Exactly. And so.
And there's programs out there that they can set their child's phone to where they can't get access to internet after 9 o'clock at night, or they can shut off access to certain things during parts of the day. There's services out there on the cell phone carriers that you can do that with their phones.
Oh, yeah, that's been available for a
Then,
while.
Ms. Garay, typed in their iPhones, computers and iWatches. I guess those are other things. that
Watches,
teachers-
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
that we
And
need
not
to
only
set
that,
example.
we could educate the parents and on like all the dangers of trafficking,
Well, and
The-
you're very well versed in that, you know, and
the
and something.
sextortion,
yeah.
that's going on. The suicide rate for the sextortion is outrageous in high schools and middle schools.
Yeah.
And families and kids need to be educated on that. I know it's hard to, but I know individuals that are very well versed and expert material experts
Sure.
in that. And we could set stuff up where I know parents are kind of iffy on wanting their kids to learn about it, but we can make it available to the parents so they can learn about it.
I think parents need to understand like what are some of the things the kids are getting into, you know,
Yeah.
that are
And-
not appropriate.
Yeah, and it's way more than just bullying. It's bad.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, it
Yes.
branches out. It
Yes,
branches
it
out.
branches out
Oh, yeah.
further. So
And also that teachers need to set the example too. I mean, during. when
Absolutely.
It's instruction
Yes.
time, it's
You know,
instruction time.
that's what, one of the things that Ms.
Ms. Garay.
Holguin and I were talking about is, you know, when she says there's room to grow, you know, that's inclusive of teachers.
Yes,
Okay. And so,
And
not
all
just
of us,
students, but
mhm.
also the teachers.
administrators, everybody, you know, I mean,
Uh,
that's.
Mr. Campbell?
If I could share something real quick that's
Yeah.
on our website. On our technology page, we already have some information on that. Let's see here, share. Screen 2. See if this works. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let's see here. So here, so you guys can see.
I did. I
So
didn't see
on
that.
our webpage, under technology, we have this online safety cyber awareness. And within here, there is some step-by-step tips on how to parents can protect their home computers, supporting your kids, you know, and some online safety resources, you know, and that's already on our site. I think we just need to do a better job, you know, promoting
Yeah,
it.
because
Hey,
I didn't
it's here.
realize that was there.
Mhm.
Can we somehow
Yeah.
put that on the homepage?
Yeah, we certainly can. We can put a link to this page on our
Yeah, make it
homepage. 100%.
easily accessible and maybe visible, a lot more visible.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. But I just wanted to let you know, we do have things on there already,
Sure.
you know, but you're right, it is buried. You know, you guys didn't know about it. We'll put it up on the homepage, most definitely.
All right. Any other questions or concerns?
Sure.
All right. That's all I have for today.
Okay, Mrs. Ramirez, any public input limited? No, okay. So we'll go ahead and item number 3.
We have two ladies in the audience.
Yes, ladies.
You have any input, ladies? No tengan vergüenza.
Okay, item number 4, moving along, well, unfinished business. 4A, consider approval of the NMSB policy advisories, 238 through 245. This is the second reading. So at this point, I still see some things crossed out. So how would we, Mr. Chavez, go about if we do approve these, getting those uploaded to our new board policy, or do we?
So this is part of the policy service that we
Yes.
subscribe to. And so they're the ones that manage our policy manual. And so this is sent out by the lawyer that works through NMSBA, and that's Mr. Castile.
Castillo?
And so what he does is, this always comes about after the legislative session, and looks at the new laws that were passed and that were enacted. And so then what he does is he goes back to the policies and revises them or updates them and that sort of, and that's why he sends them out like this for board approval. So that the board then is aware of the changes, they're aware of what's, and so when we approve it now, then what'll happen is we'll notify him that we've gone through the process and we approve, and then he updates our policy.
And he'll
manual.
clean it, he'll. take out
Yes,
the-
yes, yes.
The
So he
strike
does
outs and all
include
that.
the strike throughs so that
Okay,
you have an
strike-throughs.
understanding
Oh, okay,
of
all
what the
right.
revisions were and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, you know, what was the result of the law that was passed and then what needed to be revised within the advisories.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So is there a motion to approve the NMSBA policy advisories 238 through 245 second reading?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Montes,
Pick it.
seconded by Mr. Legareta. Is there any discussion before we vote? Okay, I'll go ahead and call for an individual vote. If you are in favor, say aye. If opposed, say no. Member Garay, she's gonna type. Let me look up there. Yes, okay. Yes. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legareta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Aye.
myself, President Marquez, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Approved. The 4A is approved. NMSBA policies advisories 230 through 245 are approved. 4B, consider approval of Fieldhouse construction proposal remodel. Mr. Chavez.
So this is something that has been in the works in Hatch Valley Public Schools for 15 years. And we started talking to the architect about this. He said, yeah, we've been talking about this for 15 years. And I thought he was exaggerating, but he wasn't. He showed us the plans from way back when. And so over time, you know, they're just, I mean, I don't know all the history as far as, you know, why, why it hasn't been remodeled sooner. However, it is what it is. And so here we are. And so one of the things that that when we looked in there, well, if you haven't been in there, you'll understand why, you know, the need to remodel that. We've got issues with sanitary issues, you know, everything from mice to even mold. And it's just, you know, it's not a safe environment. It's not a healthy environment for our kids. Some of the walls that were put up there when whoever put them up, whenever they got put up, are not anchored correctly. And so it could be a safety issue. And even the lighting, I think, well, I know that the lighting is those old 8-foot fluorescent single pin lights. I don't even know if you can get those kind of lights anymore. And so it is something that has been way overdue, something that needs to get done. Just because of the, if anything, just because of the sanitary conditions of that
Yes.
building. And so we had started talking about this 2 years ago, and then you know, trying to find the money and trying to get to a place where we can move forward. It's been, you know, it's kind of been hit and miss. Anyways, but we're ready. We finally got the quote, and it's like anything else. You know, everything costs $1 million nowadays, you know, and But we also looked at different options. We looked at new construction. You know, I know the ideal thing would be to have a field house on the other side, you know, on school grounds and the other side of the canal. However, when we looked at that, and this was last year, I believe, you know, it was going to cost $1.4
was.
million, and that field house is going to be a lot smaller than what we currently have. It's probably going to be about half the size of what we currently have. And so it just made sense to go this route. It's still not ideal as far as the location. However, you know, they've had it there for a long time, and I think I think they would just be happy to have a nice facility for our kids, and that's inclusive of training room and storage and, you know, all the pieces that we need in there. And so we wanted to put that on there for consideration, for approval. And like I said, it is something that we've been working on over the last 2 or 3 years. And we're ready to move forward if the board is wishes or desires to do so.
And so
No.
the proposal, that would be like, we are gonna move forward, right? We're
Yes.
voting to actually start construction.
Yes.
Yes, but
Okay,
it
Oh.
wouldn't start until after this football season.
okay,
Okay,
Okay.
and so that's one of the things that was a little disappointing. For me, I really wanted to have it ready before this, but there was
no way.
just no way we could
Okay.
get that
Thank
done.
you.
So if everything goes through
um,
as planned, it would start right after the football season.
cool.
The grand totals are different. Now, are we
Uh,
going with the free,
The ESA.
the one we got today?
And
I'm online if you have questions. Good evening, board, Mr. President. The one in your packet was a preliminary, and we sat with the contractor and the architect and took off a couple of items. We did a different flooring. If you see on the original one, it was epoxy flooring for $92,000. On the revised version that you have at your desk, that was decreased. And then they took the marker boards out. That's something that we can add later. The contractor did not need to install that. And then the shelving as well. So I'm not exactly sure what else was changed. I can show it on the screen if you need me to, but I did tell them we needed to come down a little because we did get PSCOC funding. It was House Bill 505 to be able to do this work. And so to get us closer to that budget, they removed those items.
And it's not gonna get any cheaper, right? We would,
No.
it's not gonna.
unfortunately,
Mm-mm.
Mr. President, I make a motion.
Okay.
To move with the document presented with ESA construction.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Montes. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Mr. Gonzalez via Zoom. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, so I'll call for an individual vote to approve a field house construction proposal. Member Garay. Yes. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes.
Aye.
Myself, President Marquez, aye. Motion carries 5-0. 4B is approved. Approval of field house construction proposal. We will move forward with that. Awesome. Nice. Okay, new business. 5A, consider approval of school year 24-25 revised administrator salary schedule. Mr.
so
Chavez.
we've got several, as you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 different, we got 4 salary schedule, and then we've got the contracts and then the application. But the first 4, there's a series of some are increases that we needed to make as far as you know, the custodian, and I know we'll go back and approve each one individually. But I just want to kind of give you an overview of what's going on with that. The other thing is I know that one of the things that the board has been wanting is to see how we could maybe increase some of our salaries to become a little more competitive with our neighboring districts. And so I know Ms. Sheila Offit is online, and I know we have Shelley here as well. And so they've done a lot of work to do some comparison, some comparative analysis, and to see how we could bump up our salaries a little bit. You know, it's one of those give and takes, right? Because you know, the more that we push out from our SEG and our staffing, you know, the higher percentage that we devote to that staffing, right? And so we know, you know, that I always use the standard of 82%, you know, staying close to 82%. But I also know that recently somebody had at one of the conferences has said, you know, if we're at 85, that's good too. And so, you know, it's something that we always look at to see, you know, the budget. We don't want to stretch it too thin as well, because then it limits us in being able to do other things. And so I know that Sheila and Shelley have done a really good job of, you know, what is the impact? And we looked at, they looked at two different scenarios. One at a $2,500 increase, the other one is a $5,000 increase, and the impact that it would have. We're currently at 85% with our staffing, and an overall increase of 2,500. It would be it would bring us up to 87%, and 5,000 would bring us up to 88 and 89%, because it's 88.9. And so those are just some things that you all need to be aware of. And, you know, the other thing is sustainability. It's something that we always got to think about, is sustainability. And can it be sustained? Can we, you know, move in this direction? And, you know, what happens next year if there's another raise? You know, can we, you know, because I'll tell you, one of the things that happened this year is we had those increases, those raises, but you know, in talking to superintendents across the state, you know, we didn't feel that PED properly funded that. And and so it's always one of those situations where you got to look at just different things from different angles. And so I don't want to take a whole lot more time on all that. Let me just turn it over to the experts, and Sheila and Shelley, and if you could kind of take us through this and see what we're looking at for the board to consider.
Okay, it is a lot of information. I gave you two spreadsheets that are color coded. One is the daily rate, and the other one is based on a 183 calendar. Because I wanted to compare apples to apples. TRC and Las Cruces both have a longer calendar than we are. So yes, we pay a little less, but we also work less days. And so I wanted to capture that. So I did, the first page in your packet is a daily rate difference. The tan is where we're at now. The salmon color is what our daily rate would be. And then the difference, and then whether what would be the impact against Tier C or Las Cruces Public Schools. And so if you look at the $2,500 increase, we would be within $4 a day of Las Cruces at level 1, $7, level 2, $11 at level 3. To actually surpass Las Cruces, you would have to have a $5,000 increase. But we would still not supersede Tier C. Again, that would put us over 90% of our SCG. So at the top, it has a total increase. I wanted to also point out that this will affect other funds. This is bigger than operational. You increase the daily rate of your teachers, the administrative salary schedule is based on the teacher salary schedule. And that's why we're requesting an approval of also the administrative salary schedule. So the total increase at the top is how it would impact the total budget. But then the next section is the percentage on the SEG. So it doesn't appear that it's increasing it that much. It's essentially, I filtered out operational fund. Again, we've had a lot of movement in the district in the last couple of days, and these are not exact numbers. They cannot be exact numbers because people change their benefits constantly.
Sheila, is there a reason why we didn't include non-certified staff in this revision?
We were asked to try to get our teacher salaries to be more competitive. We have increased in prior years. EAs, they got a legislative increase last year, up to 25,000 starting. This year, what you've already approved was an increase to secretary, custodian, and maintenance salary schedules. Last year, bus drivers got a substantial increase in salary schedule. So again, this is directly in response to the board's request to have teacher salaries more competitive. The custodian salary schedule that is on here is, once we built that out, we actually did increase the base, but I did not double check to make sure every employee, when we plugged this into iVisions, would get the 3%. So they are side by side in your book, and you can see it's minimal. One is literally 1 penny different, but that adds up to $8 over the year. So I had to revise the custodian salary schedule, and that's on me. I did not do a double check before I printed that last semester. So we did run the new salaries correctly. Everyone got their 3%. We're asking for that salary schedule specifically to be corrected based on the 3% mandate. All the others are provided you want to increase the teacher salary schedule.
I just want to kind of piggyback off of what Ms. Offit has said. You know, when you know, you can certainly impact the SEG and do these increases, but where it really impacts us when we do that is in our federal programs. And so because we don't get increases in our federal programs, so you know, to give a 3% increase, you know, any type of increase that is legislatively passed, it always hurts us in our federal programs because we never get increase in federal programs. And so we're able to cover less with our federal programs people. And so it impacts us negatively there. And in some cases, we have to supplement from the SEG to cover any type of increase in the federal programs, people that are paid out of federal programs. And so this is something that we could look at, something that could be, you know, we could have a long-term plan also that we say, you know, we can do this year, we can look at more next year, and you know, have a 2 or 3 year plan, you know, or something like that. It's hard to catch up with some of these things that, you know, the other thing that I just want to remind everybody is that, you know, when we look at bottom line and we start comparing districts, you know, one of the things that we don't have access to is, you know, their 910B5, where we can look at and really compare apples to apples to see, you know, how many units are being generated. So if you've got a district that is generating more units than we are, of course, they're going to get more money in their SEG. And so there's a lot of different factors. My point is that there's a lot of different factors that we have to really consider. And you know, sometimes keeping up with a district that has resources like Las Cruces, it makes it really difficult for a small district like us to continue to be as competitive with them, because one of the things that they have and the advantage that they have is they have economies of scale. You know, where we don't. And so they can do a lot more with their money than we can. And so anyways, I just want to, those are all just different things to consider. This is something that we wanted to put there, put in front of you to consider, because we do know that it is one of the desires of the board, and to see what we can do to become a little more competitive.
Okay. So looking at the 2,500 and the 5,000, is there any discussion that?
Well, my discussion is, even if the increase would be 2,500, it's hard to say if we can sustain that, right?
I think 25 is not gonna hurt us. You know, we're going from 85% to 87%. That's something that I think we could probably sustain. 5,000 becomes a little more, you know, when you're starting to get closer to 90%, now we're, it could be done, but we're gonna have to trim somewhere else,
No, Miss Sheila can do it. I know she can trim.
I think we need to move forward with something like this, because I mean, we've talked about it since we came in, and it's time to put the money where our mouth is and make some moves that are gonna start enticing some of these highly qualified people to come our way.
And for me, for my opinion, I really would like to see the $5,000 increase myself. For the administrators, teachers, ancillary.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
like to see it.
and again, I just, going back to what Sheila
Yeah.
said, as far as, the increases, we have to include the administrators
Yes,
because
oh, yeah,
because the
definitely.
compaction then becomes, it becomes too close, and then you start having people such as our elementary principals
Yeah.
that say, gosh, why am I doing
Yeah.
the work that I'm doing, when I'm not making that much
Yeah.
more than a level 3 teacher.
Yes, and that's why, yeah, I believe the administrator, teacher and ancillary.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that, in my opinion.
So
We can make it happen, we'll do whatever, whatever y'all, want to move in the direction that you want to move, we'll make it happen. And we'll start planning, a long-term plan.
Is this something we can look at
Ms.
on a
Kay.
yearly basis?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
I would look at, Mr. Marcus, that we look at the increase of the 2,500 and look at it on a yearly basis
Okay,
from now on, from this point forward, so that we do not go years without, seeing any growth.
okay.
The-
And-
Can I
Miss-
add something else?
Oh, yes,
So if we add this, we cannot go backwards.
back to it. Yeah, it stays
Well,
like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Salary
The
stays. You can't-
salary
yeah,
schedules, yeah, and we can look at it every year and see.
But we can't take,
Well,
away.
what you can't do is you can't affect quality of life, okay?
Yeah.
And unless, there is different ways, and you were here, all of you were
Uh-huh.
here, when the years that Hatch went through that tight
Yes.
budget where you had to have furlough days
Yeah.
and so things like that
That
can
will
happen,
happen. Yeah.
hopefully we never have to do that, but there's always other options too, and I know you guys have brought up some ideas about, stipends, whether that's retention stipends or if, you can look at it from that perspective as well, in terms of stipends, like, if you want to do like 25 or 3,000 or something like that, then, and then, as we get to the end of the year, we can really look and see what we can do as far as a retention stipend. And, I don't know, there's different ways of approach this.
I mean, it sounds like a prude, but if we take these baby steps, we can see if it'll work on a yearly basis, then we can look at it again next year. And we can do the other 2,500. We want to make sure financially we're okay.
We can sustain it.
Yeah.
but
But if it looks good for next school year, then we can look at it again.
But I believe, and I'm gonna just ask Sheila, the 5,000 and the 2,500, you put the 5,000 there because you honestly, do you believe that is sustainable to even put that out there and give that to us? Because you wouldn't give us that number and put us somewhere with.
Well, if you remember back when we got our SCG, we were about 90%.
And
We were able to make that up. I just felt like we should look at these options since we were able to make up that money. I am concerned about some of our programs, like our bilingual program, and making sure we're fully staffed. We do offer stipends and we still need a couple of employees to fill those positions. So the stipend didn't necessarily fix our problem. But I did felt like this is still right at the 90% and you were willing to go there before. I would feel more comfortable probably at the 2,500, just like Mr. Montes is saying that we're increasing it, but that does not surpass Las Cruces. And I know that was also something that you wanted to see. So we would surpass, it would take the 5,000 to get us to the Las Cruces level.
yes. And to reiterate, we were close to the 90 with our previous budget.
Yes, before we were able to make up
Well,
those.
And remember, you know, with their previous budget, because there
Oh.
was some errors with
Errors.
with the unit
Yes,
population.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so we were forced to do that.
yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll do what we have to. I mean, if you're forced to do something, then, you know, you know, we do what we have to do, right? And make sure that our people are taken care of. I think number one is to make sure that everybody has a job.
Yes.
You know, and that's where we worked really hard, is to make sure that that everybody had a job, that we're not looking at furloughs, we're not looking at cuts, we're not looking at anything like that. If there is any type of cuts, it'd be through attrition. But there are other things to consider. Sheila just mentioned you know, next year's budget. And so, you know, that a lot of our programs, well, everything is based on prior year funding, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the things that we are struggling right now is with our bilingual programs and having that staffed at the secondary level, both middle school and high school. And right now, as it stands, I'm very, very concerned about the impact that it's going to have in our budget for next year. Because if we don't get positions filled in those positions, it will negatively impact our budget. We make a significant amount of money on our bilingual programs, and I'm really concerned about
They
that.
need to
And
be
so that's
certified bilingual teachers. correct?
Certified.
Like certified.
certified, and that's
That's
the
the
that's the key. You know, we can, you know, they'll still receive services,
Yeah.
but
But
we won't
funding.
get the funding for it because we won't have a certified teacher. Or let me correct that, an endorsed, bilingually endorsed teacher.
And there's nothing that says that we can't go 3,800 and go right in the middle right there too.
I did not calculate that. That will, we will be under
Or
bus
4,000.
prices to do that. Right.
That's,
we-
just let me read what Mrs. Can you scroll down just a bit? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read that. I feel we need to use the money to hire another or more teachers to help for every teacher. Okay. I don't feel that would be feasible until you have evaluated all teachers that you have on staff and make sure that they're doing their job, then increase. Okay. We cannot compete with Las Cruces. Okay. But and I do agree with the valuation and things like that, but that's what the principals are there for. And if they're not doing their job, it doesn't, that's find a person that's able to do that. But yeah, I kind of like the ideal of Mr. Gonzalez, even the 4,000, or I still, if we can do the 5, but but I heard you, the 25. Ms. Garay, what are you thinking? Where are you at? Like, if we're just between the 25 and the 5,
35,
the 35, 2,500 and the 5,000.
meet in the middle.
Oh, you like the
Yeah.
35, okay? And what is,
I would start low and grow from there.
what do you feel?
Well, that's what,
Oh, thank you
Miss-
for
Miss
reading,
Garay.
okay. Okay, I would start low and grow from there, okay? And Mr. Legarreta, what is your opinion there?
I like the splitting it down the middle, myself. I think we need to start getting, attracting more teachers. I think we put the bigger worm out there on our hooks, so we can start getting some quality teachers coming in that we could start, retaining as well. Our quality teachers that we have now.
And I looked at the positions this afternoon. Are all those still need to be filled, or some of them?
We've got some in the works,
Okay, so-
and so we'll have some of those filled by Friday.
Okay,
But yes, we still have open positions, yes.
you
yeah.
on there.
I think my wife showed me there was a significant.
We've
for-
had a lot of movement this year. We've had a lot of movement this year.
And how many do we bilingual endorsed?
Well, I don't know
Teachers
if
do
you
we
can
need?
bring that up and you can, well, no, because you can't really tell, but when you look on there, I found that strange that we also needed a regular ed teacher in 5th grade, and that may already be in the works too. I thought that
Yes,
was kind of- That was like a regular hit.
Well, it's, so that's a cohort of kids that's really small.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that cohort is, I want to say right around 60 kids, 57, 60
Oh, okay,
kids.
so-
And so in the past, what we did is we dropped down to 3 teachers. But it's presented some challenges because of bilingual programs.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we said is let's put that position back in for them as 5th graders. That cohort now moves from 4th grade to 5th grade. And so that's what that is.
Okay.
It's a position that wasn't there last year, but it was there before all that.
Before, yeah.
And so
We need that extra help, like Ms. Caray was saying, the extra teacher there in 5th grade when they go to middle school, I mean,
Yeah.
that, they need that.
Yeah.
Does
Well,
that help
and-
any with class load?
well, to have, so right now we've got 3 but if we put 4, yes,
Yeah.
it'll pull those class loads down. Yes.
That's right. It
Yeah.
wasn't there. It wasn't.
It wasn't there last
Okay.
year, you know, and we were within the requirements of our class loads. But, you know, obviously we need some help, right? We looked at the data. And so, it's something that we want to do, but it did present some challenges,
You
for
just
us.
refreshed my memory. I remember 5th grade does need that help.
They need that help.
Yes.
You know, and just for a comparison, one of the things that I just want to bring to the board's attention is I did talk to the superintendent from Tier C this morning. And I did ask her, you know, what is your percentage right now of SEG and staffing? And she told me that they were right at 86%. So, you know, but you know, again, we can get close to the percent, but you know, their salary schedule is just, I'm not sure how they're doing.
Yeah.
it. They have to be generating more units than we do.
So is there a motion for a amount?
Oh, there's a question.
Oh. What happens if you give everyone a big raise, then we run out of money next year? And you need to fire some employees to make up the money. No, that's why we have Sheila right there, right? Sheila, that's what we're saying.
Let me, because every year this comes up, it
Yeah.
comes up, you know, people start running scared, you know,
Yeah.
thinking that people are gonna lose their job, you know, even this year when I was trying to be transparent and letting everybody know, you know, where we were with our budget and our 910B5 and I was very, very clear. I said, nobody's going to lose their job.
Yeah.
You know, but boy, as soon as the word got out, it was like, oh, we're gonna lose our jobs, and I was like, I had to go back and say, guys, we're not gonna. So, you know, the best way to really address some of this stuff when you're in a crunch is because, I mean, when you're looking at 85 to, you know, 88% of your staff, of your budget and tied up in staffing, well, if you have to make up some room, what's the easiest way to do that? Well, you reduce staffing.
Through attrition.
but
something that
Through
actually helps
attrition,
in-
I don't like layoffs. I
Oh,
don't
no.
like, you know,
Yeah.
but if we have to do some cuts, we'll do it through attrition so that
Yeah.
nobody loses their job. And so I just want to make that clear
Clear.
again, because it seems like, you know, 2 or 3 years that I've dealt with, you know, as we talk about the budget and we talk about, you know, strengthening the budget, you know, well, you know, there's several ways of doing it, but to really have an impact, you got to decrease staffing. And we have great class sizes. You know,
Mhm.
that's the other thing is that, you know, when we're comparing to other districts, we also have to look at, you know, our class loads are great. You know, I don't know what they are in Tier C, but I know in Las Cruces, they're not what ours are, you know, and so
Yeah.
there are some advantages that we have as we try to keep those class sizes down so that they're more manageable for our teachers.
And I do have a question, even with the 25 or the 5,000 or the 4,000, 3,500, the bilingual teachers still will receive their stipends, correct?
Yes.
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 That's just to make sure.
Do we have to motion for each of these separate A, B, C, D, or can it be combined?
Yes,
Yes.
we will, Mr. Gonzalez, we're just kind of having just a general discussion of everything so that you see the bigger picture. So that when we come back and vote on
Yeah.
the individual items, we'll have a better idea of what we're voting for.
But yeah, but I think, Mr. Gonzalez, we would have, in my opinion, we do have to give the same amount to all 3, A, B, and C. because the custodians are a little different, right? That's, I think, but the A, B, and C, whatever we. So I mean, I'm gonna just throw out, I would like to, and once again, I mean, that's each individual. It can, I'm gonna ask to move for the 5,000, nobody moves it, then it just dies there and then we start again, but I will entertain a motion to approve the $5,000 for the revised administrator's salary schedule, the teacher salary schedule, and the ancillary salary schedule.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Gonzalez. Is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mr. Legareta. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a vote, and that is for the 5,000. I will call an individual vote, and if you are in favor, say aye. If opposed, say no. Member Garay,
no.
no. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legareta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Nay.
nay. Myself, President Marquez, yes. So the yeses have it, 3-2. So the motion carries to increase the revise administrator's salary schedule by 5,000, the teacher salary schedule by 5,000, and the ancillary salary schedule by 5,000. Motion carries 3-2. So
Are we
we'll go ahead and
doing-
vote each one then now, right? Now that
Now we're
we
just going
decided.
individual?
Yeah, we can do that.
I just
now that-
want for clarification, Mr. Marcus, I don't know, Sheila, can you talk to us a little bit about the ancillary? Because I don't know that that was included
Oh.
like that. And so,
Yeah, she ended up getting booted. I just invited her back in.
Sorry,
okay,
You may have to
sorry,
repeat.
my battery died.
Thought it was the 5,000 in there. I mean.
Sheila, can you go over the ancillary proposal
the-
salary schedules?
So the ancillary, what we had approved at the last meeting was $5,000 more than the teacher salary schedule. So this is also adding the 5,000 or the 2,500 to the ancillary.
Clarification on that. So you were correct, Mr. Marcus.
Okay, so now that we went ahead and did the 5,000, now we can vote on each individual, correct? To approve the administrator schedule individually, should we do that? Okay.
We probably need to have.
All right, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, but so we decided on the 5,000, now we're gonna vote to approve each A, B, C, and then we'll talk about the custodian salary schedule. Okay, so I will entertain the motion to approve 5A, $5,000 increase administrator in the administrator salary schedule,
So moved.
moved by Mr. Gonzalez,
Second,
seconded by Mr. Legareta. Okay, I will call for an individual vote. Member Garay,
no.
no. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legareta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Nay.
myself, President Marquez, yes. Motion carries 3-2 to increase the administrator salary schedule by $5,000.
Well, can I clarify?
Yes.
This is based, if you look at the administrator salary schedule, it's not an exact 5,000, it is a factor increase. So
Factory,
the factor times the new base salary of the top row of the level 3 teacher.
okay.
Does
So
that
I-
make sense? It's
Yes.
based on a level 3 with the $5,000
With
increase.
the level 3, so should I go back and say level 3 with the $5,000 increase
Well, it's just as presented.
as presented?
Yes.
So is that okay? The way we voted for that?
Now, is administration gonna go by
Because it,
So
performance?
So the administrator salary schedule is based on weight and so it's a factor that is based on level 3 teachers
Mhm.
pay. And so each principal has a different factor that calculates their salary schedule. So from that is where we develop the salary schedule. And so there's weights that are approved through the legislature, you know, that define that. And so what Sheila is saying is that it would have to be an increase to their weight. But Sheila, am I correct in understanding that the increase in that factor would equate to $5,000?
It's, I think, a little more than 5, because if you raise, we had already given the teachers the 3% when we moved into this year. And so now we're increasing an additional 5. So the previous administrator salary schedule was based on 70,000. Now we're basing it on, if you look at your level, your 5,000 increase on level 3. That would be, now the new annual base is 77,100 times the weights presented on the administrative salary schedule.
So maybe I should have stated that I will entertain a motion to approve a FTE factor level 3 with $5,000 increase for the base administrative salary schedule. Would that be?
Yes, that would be.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and scratch that, Elsa, and I'll try to restate that and make sure we have everything squared away. I will entertain a motion to approve the FTE factor level 3 with $5,000 increase for the base administrative salary schedule. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Legarreta. I will call for an individual vote. All in favor, say aye. If opposed, say no. Member Garay?
No.
No. VP Gonzalez,
Aye.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Nay.
myself, President Marquez, yes. The motion carries 3-2. Approval of the administrative base salary schedule, level 3, with a $5,000 increase. Okay, and before we get to 5B, Ms. Offit, is that just a straight 5,000? I just say the 5,000 without the factor or anything like that?
Correct. It's a $5,000 to the previously approved salary schedule, line by line.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the revised teacher salary schedule by $5,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Legarreta. I will call for an individual vote. If you are in favor, say aye or yes. If opposed, say no. Member Garay? No? No? Okay, VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Nay.
myself, President Marquez. Yes, motion carries 3-2. The $5,000 is approved for the revised teacher salary schedule. Okay, 5C. I will entertain a motion to approve a $5,000 increase for the revised ancillary salary schedule.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Gonzalez,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Legarreta. I will call for an individual vote. If you are in favor, say aye. If opposed, say no. Member Garay? No. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Nay.
myself, President Marquez, yes. Okay, motion carries 3-2 for the approval of $5,000 to the revised ancillary salary schedule. Okay, Mr. Chavez, I believe we're on 5D. Consider approval of the school year 24-25 revised custodian salary schedule.
So as Sheila mentioned earlier, it is part of this is a correction to make sure that legislatively we were required to provide a 3% increase in salaries. And it's one of the things where we didn't catch one of the errors that was there. And so Sheila, do you have more clarification on that?
Yeah, so side by side in your packet, the tan boxes are the only ones that are being revised. And you can see one is 6 cents, one is 1 cent, one's 5 cents. We just need to make sure that each line each, year got their 3%. So that is my fault and I apologize for that.
It's not significant,
Oh, no, but
you know,
still,
but we just need to make sure that we're in compliance.
I make a motion to approve these changes as presented.
okay, so move,
Seconded.
Mr. Montes,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. I will call for an individual vote. If you're in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Member Garay? Yes. VP Gonzalez,
Yes.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Aye.
myself, President Marquez, aye. Motion carries 5-0 to approve the revised custodian salary schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soffit. Okay. 5E, consider approval of the educational diagnostician services contract for 24-25 and 25-26.
Yes, it's, again, our diagnostician services that we have to provide for our students. And so it's just a proposal in the contract that we have to approve in order to move forward.
And your recommendation to approve that, correct? And for the
Recommendation is
three-year-
for approval. Yes,
All
thank you.
right. And there was a clause there that either party could, the
Um,
contract could be
If there was
terminated.
if there was an out clause,
Because I believe
Shelley,
so,
was
right?
there an out clause?
It's only a 1-year contract.
Oh.
So that there is a clause in there that at the end of every year, they can, either party
Either
can
party,
stop the
okay.
service. Now, this is a company that has done service for us in the past. It's just that they are no longer through the Southwest REC. And they chose on their own to respond to our
Oh,
RFP. We went out for RFP for this. They were the only responding company, but we have dealt with them in the past.
okay. Thank you.
So it's a single contract for 1 year, and then again, it's with the option, to automatically, well, not automatically, with approval to renew for the second if both parties are
Okay,
working
agreed.
well together.
Okay. Great.
I make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Montes to approve. Is there a
Seconded.
Seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, I will call for an individual vote to approve the educational diagnostician service contract. If you are in favor, say aye. If opposed, say no. Member Garay?
Yes.
Yes. VP Gonzalez,
Aye.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes?
Aye, aye, aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Myself, President Marquez, aye. Motion carries 5-0. The educational diagnostic service contract is approved. Okay, now 5F, consider approval for the school year 24-25 IDEal B application.
So it's our SPED application that was released late.
Yes.
And like the last week of June is when they released it. And so, they released it on that Monday and wanted it done by Friday. And it was just, we got it done and everything like that, but we didn't have a board meeting to have that. So this is to get us going with our IDEA B services and our contract with them.
And what is your recommendation?
Our recommendation is for approval.
Okay,
I make
I-
a motion to approve.
yes, all right.
Second.
So, all right, so moved by Montes, seconded by Mr. Legarreta. I will call for an individual vote. Favor say aye or yes, opposed say no. Member Garay? Yes. VP Gonzalez,
Aye.
Secretary Legarreta,
Aye.
Member Montes,
Aye.
myself, President Marquez, yes. Motion carries 5-0. The IDEal B application is approved for school year 24-25. Okay, item 6. Items for future meetings. Members of the board?
Richard, I'd like to put on for future meetings that we review board policy B 3050, board communication with staff members. And B 3100, board communications with the public.
Any other,
Can I have him text those to you? The ones he
Good.
wants to review.
can you text those to us, Mr. Gonzalez? Or can you repeat, yeah, text us to it, but if you could repeat that one more time, so that way
Por favor.
it's recorded and that way Elsa can get that specifically.
B,
Put on the chat also. Okay, sorry about that, but go ahead and say that again, Mr. Gonzalez.
B 3050 and B 3100.
Okay, thank you.
And Mrs. Garay, any things for our next board? Okay, not at this moment. Mr. Legareta?
Just if you could try to see if we could do what, graduation rate would be, before the 50, Mr. Chavez, if it's possible.
Okay.
And I know we talked about that earlier, Mr. Chavez, about the 11th grade data. If hopefully we
Yes.
have that by August and
What else?
There's one other thing, Richard, if we could put up for discussion too. I'd like to kind of have a discussion about supplies for our students and what we're doing as a district to ensure that all of our kids come with supplies, and so our teachers aren't spending money out of their own pockets to purchase supplies for our students.
I believe, Mr. Gonzalez, that even when I was in the classroom that the students were provided supplies.
Very well.
Are they, is that happening?
We
still,
we
or-
do provide,
But, you know, for elementary, at least I remember.
yeah, our
hearing that-
teachers get, gosh, I can't remember. Sheila, you're gonna have to help me. Was it $150? Is it $150? So our teachers get for any type of school supplies that they may need, that's, beyond what we provide them.
No, but the students,
but as far as the
you're asking about
students-
Students, right?
But as far as the students, what we do is we use our Title I monies. And so each school principal has a Title I budget for school supplies and anytime things like that. So, no, we
We're
don't,
gonna put-
we don't give it to the students themselves.
No?
No.
I
Well, we're
think one
gonna
of the
put
main
that on there.
concerns, Richard, was placing that burden on some of that burden on the parents as well, especially when they
Yeah.
can't afford that.
No, I know, but I,
Teachers send out,
Yeah,
supply
they go-
lists.
yes.
Yeah.
but for some reason, that last 3 years, I thought that they gave us, all my kids got pencils, crayons, glue, they had everything.
Yeah, well,
booklets.
and we
Right.
try to leverage our different funding
Okay.
sources, like, our federal programs. So we use Title I, we use Title III, we use Title IV, whatever, we sometimes out of our SEG to provide just materials and supplies for kids.
So, Mr. Gonzalez, could it be in the superintendent's report, what type of supplies were provided for?
Yes, that would work.
Yeah.
I'm just really concerned because, our teachers shouldn't have to be spending money out of their own pockets and then with the economy the way it is, our students, our parents, we're in a low income
Yes.
community, they need help.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
God damn. If I get it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll call you.
All right. Okay, well, item 7, executive session. The board will go into executive session pursuant to NMSA 1015-12, limited personnel matters. Specifically, the board will discuss the superintendent's goals and evaluation tool, and no action will be taken. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So
I will-
moved.
So moved by.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Montes, seconded by Mr. Legareta. I will call for a group vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. We are now in executive session. Okay, I will entertain a motion to return from executive session.
So
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Legareta, seconded by Mr. Montes. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion carries 3-0. We are now back in regular session. And pursuant to NMSA 10-15-1-2, limited personnel matters, The board did not take any action. Okay, item number 8, the next regular board meeting will be Wednesday, August 14th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Is there any other things before we adjourn? Okay, I'll go ahead and, item number 9, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Montes,
second.
seconded by Mr. Legarreta. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Meeting adjourned.